Yes, guys, and welcome back to another opposition preview. This is Arsenal versus Brentford, of course, for the game Saturday evening, 5:30 UK time kickoff at, of course, the Emirates. And yeah, we do return once again, another week, another massive game for Arsenal in this title race, and it is against the Bees in Brentford. We're joined by a very special guest, Arsenal fan. We are waiting, of course, on Steve, and he is perfect timing, man, because he's just arrived now. We have got Steve from
Yeah,
Mr.
boys.
B. Big up to you, man. How you doing? You good?
Yeah, cool, man. No worries. Yeah, sorry about that. My late food was a bit late being ready, so unfortunately I was eating it, still eating when this was going on, man. So,
Nah, no worries at all, man. Honestly, a pleasure
cool.
to have you on as always. And guys, make sure you drop us up to Mr.
Yeah,
B. Very easy to do, man. Literally, the link is in the title. You click the blue app, takes you straight to his channel. Give him a sub. We're also joined by an Arsenal fan making his debut on the channel, by the way, guys. Manny,
Manny,
big up to
yeah,
you, man.
man.
How you doing?
Yeah, all good, son. Thanks a lot for having me on, and big up, of course, to Mr. B, a really close mate of mine. I know that we
Yes,
do a lot
buddy.
of work for England cricket as well as have some good footballing discussions as well. And yeah, it's nice to be on here and hopefully to talk everything Arsenal. And I know that given my own strong views, I might possibly, come across as being a little bit maybe overbearing at times, perhaps, but I'm always eager to sort of have reasonable debates. And
Mm.
as long as people are respectful towards my opinions, I'm always happy to respect other people's opinions. I will never ever insult anyone else's opinions on our club because at the end of the day, we all want what's best for the team, at least in theory.
Nah, yeah,
Yeah,
respect, man. Yeah, 100%
yeah, man.
agree with you there. But yeah, guys, let's get into it. Make sure you guys hit like buttons up, leave your thoughts down below, score predictions. Arsenal fans, leave your lineups as well, what you want to see, predicted lineup wise, and your thoughts going into this game. But I'll come to Steve first. Of course, coming to the Emirates. I want to start off by talking about Brentford this season because I remember you lot last season, and there's a
Yeah,
point where I honestly thought you lot could have got European football, whether that would have been Conference League or whether it was, but you lot
yeah,
finished ninth,
yeah, man.
a few points
Yeah,
off of Aston Villa. And honestly, for a club, and with all due respect to you guys, man, that is, for me, I think you overachieved massively last season, personally, and I think obviously a big part of that was because, Thomas Frank, I do rate him as a manager. And I think obviously you had the likes of Tony, who had an unbelievable season, and you had the likes of him and Wemo, a great link-up play, and as a whole, your team was very resilient. And the fact that you lot went to the big six clubs and you put up I mean, you did a double over City last season, yeah, did a double over Man,
yeah,
beat. I think you
yeah.
got a good result against. Wait, did you beat Liverpool last season? I think you did beat them last season, didn't you?
Yeah,
As
being
well.
3-1. Yeah,
Beat
yeah,
them
man.
3-1. And obviously you came to the Emirates last season and it was a 1-1 game. People can say we was robbed, but you lot were probably the better
Yeah,
side in that game, and you're
we should
probably
have beaten you, man.
deserving.
Should have beaten you.
Yeah, you should have
But,
beaten us, like real talk. But
mm,
yeah, and then it's just been the complete sort of opposite this season, hasn't it, man? What's been your thoughts on your
yeah.
team this season?
Well, you talk about overachieving there, Josh. This season we've underachieved. I don't think about that 12-0 though. I don't quite
Yeah, I
think
don't
it's going to
know.
be that close.
12-0.
But yeah, no, that ain't going to happen. I know we've been a bit poor this season, but we ain't going to lose 12-0. So, but no, man. I mean, you see what we've done last 2 or 3 seasons. It's been amazing, and we have been batting above our weight. Uh, that's no doubt about it. But we are a decent team. And everyone's saying this is a formality. You're going to wallop us and all that, and I don't think that'll be the case. I think you probably will beat us, but I don't think it's going to be a massive score. I think it's actually going to be tighter than people think. Um, but I think we haven't been at it this season, and there is something wrong. And I've been outspoken, to be honest. I even said maybe Frank should go,
Mm,
and I even said obviously, to drop Tony because he hasn't done it lately. He was limping in the last game.
mm,
He was in. I thought he was injured, but they reckon he's going to be fit for this one. But I actually thought maybe we should drop in and get a Mopai and Visser up front because Mopai is actually scoring. He's on a great run of goal scoring. Whatever you say
Yeah.
about the guy, he's a shit house and all that, and he winds people up and whatever, but he's scoring, and that was like he was for us in the Championship years ago, when he played for us. So, I think, he could have played, but then he still went with Tony. But, Visser, well, what a goal. Come back with that goal, that over
Yeah, insane.
incredible, man. But I think this is a really tough game. I don't underestimate you lot at all. You're on a hell of a run at the moment and walloping teams left, right, and centre. Apart from Porto, of course. But that could happen in the second leg. You could smack them there, mate. So. But I just it's not really been our season, and we are sort of struggling a bit. But you be careful of the bees. If you rattle the
Yeah.
hive, you could be stung. So
Yeah,
that's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying,
Steve. I mean, what I look into your some of the issues as they see this season. I think you've struggled a lot with injuries, man. I know you got like Rico Henry, Pinnock as well, two very good players who have been out injured. You had, I think, Josh De Silva out injured, and Wemo, I think, has been struggling for you lot this season. You've had plenty of injuries.
Yeah, man.
Do you think that's one of like the main reasons why you've lot of sort of fallen off compared to last season?
Yeah, but at the same time, Josh, we're not a one-man team. You're not a one-man team. Oh, you got different players that
Yeah.
you can go to. You haven't just got the one that can do things like Saka or Odegaard or what's the others? Havertz or Trossard. I mean, you've got plenty of good players there,
Of course. Yeah.
but you don't look at just one player, do you? You say, "Oh, it's the whole team, man." So
Yes.
that's the way we should be. We're not just Tony FC, at the end of the day. And I mean, we have Mr. Bomo and players like that, no doubt about it, because he's a class player and Bomo as well.
Yeah.
Quality player. And him being out, but at one stage it looked like we was doing okay without them. We were still managing without them. But obviously it has took its toll, and you can see like with games like with Liverpool, we didn't turn up. We were terrible, lost 4-1. And I mean, but actually some games we've turned up, we look good like City. Okay, we parked the bus a bit, but we only lost 1-0. So I mean, the second game obviously we lost the first
Yeah.
one. But and then what was the other game? Oh, the 2-0 against Wolves. We beat them well. We looked good in that game. We actually looked, back to almost our best. So, there are times where we have looked good again, but unfortunately, it's not enough. It's been so inconsistent this season. And if we can turn up against you lot, that'd be a miracle. And if we could somehow get a result against you lot when you've been walloping all these teams, that'd be amazing, man. I can't see it happening, but then again, you never know. You never know. You never know what could happen sometimes.
Yeah, football is a crazy game, especially the Premier League as well. You never know what's going to happen in the Premier League. We've seen some absolute shocks over the recent seasons. But yeah, I want to come to Manny. Sort of looking on the Arsenal side and Arsenal's perspective going into this game. I think going into this game against Brentford, we shouldn't be obviously underestimating them. I don't think you should underestimate anyone really. Even when we went into Sheffield United, I'm like, hold on a minute. We saw the story last season where we played bottom of the league Southampton, and look what happened there at the Emirates. Even a team like Bournemouth, for example, with all due respect to those teams, even Luton Town this season, they've came and gave us some very, very good games. So coming to this side against Brentford, against Brentford, I know that I think you guys are 16th, 15th right now, aren't you, Steve?
15th,
and I think
15th,
and I think you're 6 points above relegation. How are you feeling, man? Are you going into this game, man?
Pretty confident, son. I mean, like as both of you said, we have been, beating teams quite handily, scoring goals left, right, and centre. The biggest issue that I have is that when you take a look at the majority of the teams that we've played in recent times, many of them, quite frankly, have not been able to cut the mustard. I am quite happy that, far from being the complacent bunch that we were last season, we do seem to be taking it a lot more seriously. And we're certainly, respecting our opponents, but we're not about to say how high on the occasion when they might ask us to jump. And we certainly look to be taking it seriously. But, having said that, it really is about how you perform against the other teams that are competing with you. And yes, we've taken 4 points off Liverpool, but they are still 2 points ahead of us for a reason. And that reason being that dreadful run during the Christmas and New Year period where we lost games we should never have lost. And one of those games, of course, was to a Fulham team, which contrived to lose to Burnley at Craven Cottage and only took only ended up taking 1 point from those 2 games, while Burnley took 4. But then that same Fulham team took 4 points off us. And Fulham also happened to be in the same part of London as Steve's lot. So there is a sort of a West London connection over there, in that these teams may not necessarily be the most consistent, but they also have a really, really annoying knack at times of saving some of their best performances for when they play the bigger teams. And let's bear in mind, earlier this season, we had to depend upon a Kai Havertz winner, very late winner, it must be said, to eke out a 1-0 win. 70 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scores again and all that rubbish. And, Steve's side are actually capable of giving some of the better teams a really, really good game. And so we, as both of you agree, we cannot afford to underestimate them at all. We underestimate them at our peril. So I would definitely go so far to say that as long as we are showing that we are preparing well for this and really taking it seriously, there's no reason why we shouldn't come away with all 3 points. But we also cannot afford to forget the corresponding fixture last season, when obviously the talk was about the VAR controversy with the lines not being drawn, but then Brentford had their chances to win. And so I'm not one person, Josh, who believes in going on and on about the referees and the controversy that's created, because a great manager once said, it's your responsibility to make sure that you play well enough to make sure that the performance of the referees is not really a factor in the outcome. So, and also, given that it was VAR, we've actually got a certain Mr. Paul Tierney on VAR duty 1 week after that ridiculous error he made where during the Forest Liverpool game. Now, of course, the error didn't really contribute in many ways to Liverpool snatching that win, which kept them top. Although we were dreaming, of course, that day of potentially going top, or at least second. And we would have been top if City hadn't beaten United. But then all we could do was take out our frustrations on the worst team in the league currently. And now we prepare for Brentford. So this is obviously a game where...
A step up from Sheffield United a bit, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, mate. It will be a step up against Sheffield United from Sheffield United. Don't worry about that. But I will say again that, we once again cannot afford to take this team lightly, and we just know that Thomas Frank will come up with a plan. And especially when you consider that we're not going to be able to field Brentford's now former first-choice goalkeeper, given that the technicality of the loan means that he still cannot play against us. It will be interesting to see how the defense reacts, how our stand-in goalkeeper performs in what will almost certainly be his last appearance for the club. A bit of a shame, but then, that's football, eh? And there are a lot of permutations, a lot of possibilities to try and choose. But the most important thing is that we have to make sure that we get everything spot on, from the defense to the midfield to the attack. And if we can do that, then I'm positive that it will not be a repeat of that jammy 1-0 win we got at the G-Tech. And Brentford deserve respect. They are capable of doing well against big teams. They, in fact, had a really good game against Manchester City at the Etihad, only for a very unfortunate slip to let Erling
Yeah.
Haaland in for what proved to be the game winner.
True.
So I'm not one to disrespect the bees at all because Steve said it perfectly. You try to mess with the hive, you end up getting stung. And having been stung by a bee, and I can tell you that it hurts like Billy-O, I can tell you that is not something that I would want to see happen to us.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure, Manny. No, you made some great points there. And I know, yeah, what you touched on there about going, we've already played them twice this season, of course. Carabao Cup was a 1-0 win, and Brentford, sorry, Premier League was a 1-0 win both times.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
to be fair, like in the both of the games, I don't think we played that well. I thought Brentford actually gave us a very good game. I mean, Steve, I mean, looking at both them games, you lot sort of what people call this old low block tactic and all this against us, and we struggled to break you lot really down. I think the Carabao Cup game, I mean, you had Wizard, he missed so many sitters in the game, it was mad. And then in the Premier League game, it was, us just struggling to break you down. That's why, thought of it. And it took Havertz to come off the bench and get us an important 3 points there. How do you feel like Frank will come to the Emirates and approach this game? Because we've seen many teams at the Emirates play this whole defensive style of football, hit us on the counter. I think Fulham did it, show the perfect example of doing it at the start of the season. And, we ended up dropping points there. West Ham did it. We had 30 shots, and the issue was we again struggled to break them down. So certainly teams have came to the Emirates and done this type of tactic. Do you see, yourselves doing that?
Yeah, pretty much, Josh. I think we're going to sort of, obviously, we are going to be defensive here. I can't see us going all out because you lot are just, wallop us. You'll get so many goals if we come out of our hive, and that's it, man. You're gonna thrash us. So, but I think it'd obviously be the 3-5-2. Thomas seems to like playing that. And then we can go defensive when we could go to a 5 or a 4 at the back, at any time. I still think it's going to be pretty much the same team, similar. It has been, obviously, Flecken in goal. And I will mention he has been a lot better recently, Flecken. I've been a little bit more impressed. He has actually done some really decent saves. I think apart from the last game, he wasn't that great again. But other than that, I think it was against City. He made 12 amazing saves, to probably just keep it to 3-1 in the end. So, he's actually been all right. And, somebody I've actually liked a bit more, I've got a bit more impressed with is Rawsley. A guy I didn't really rate at all. He's actually starting to do something now. And, he scored in that last game as well. So cheers, Arsenal Clips. Thanks for that.
Yeah, big up, man.
But yeah, he's starting to come on a bit. I mean, I can see now why maybe Thomas has faith in him to do something, and he keeps playing him. He's decent going forward anyway. Maybe he's still slightly lacking at the back, but he can get better with that. And of course, Reguilon. He's starting to produce a bit again now. I mean, I think what was that game he was poor in against maybe City or one game he was really poor, I think Liverpool maybe. But, and then Collins, I mean, okay, he's made mistakes. But we ain't got much choice, I'm afraid, man, because we haven't got a load of replacements, to fill in.
Yeah.
A lot of ours are out Pinnocks. They're going to be out until after the international games. And Me's out for the season, Ben Mee. So we're going to have, obviously, Collins and Aya and that sort of thing at the back. I rate Aya as well, although he's been a little bit dodgy lately. But he's still a good player. And Zanka, another one, not sure about sometimes. But then, of course, you got decent midfield, got Norgard, Jensen and all that. And Janelt, who I was impressed with in that last game, Janelt. He played really well. So, we got Onyeka as well. That's another one. Very quick. Bit of a road runner, you could say. But he is a good player as well. I rate him, And then of course you got Visser and looks like Tony up front. That's what it's going to be, I would say.
So no Neil Mopay for you.
It don't look like it. I think he looks like he wants to stick with Visser and Tony. I kept saying I'd probably prefer Mopay because he is scoring. You know, why drop a player in form, man? I don't get it. You know, to be honest, you keep playing. If these players are red hot, you keep them going, don't you? You know, so.
No, for sure. I mean, we all know Arsenal fans, and if you, I'm sure you know that Mopay and Arsenal, we have a bit of history. You know, when he's at Brighton, of course. Yeah, it was. It's kind of mad. So, yeah, he's a shit house, isn't he? I mean, even when I saw him score against Tottenham, man was doing the dart celebration to obviously mock Madison, and all that.
I wasn't happy with that, man. I just wasn't. It was total embarrassment, man. And you don't do that when you know you got like the rest of the first half to go and then another 45 minutes. Why do all that? You lose, you know. He's fucking dumb, man. Sorry for swearing. He's dumb, you know.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
and you know, you just don't do that. But you know, he did score again, and he has been on a great run. So. Whatever he does, if it helps him play better, I guess he's got to keep it going. I guess. So, but it looks like it is going to be Visser and Tony, and I still think that'd be a good lineup, good strike force there. As long as Tony is fit enough, because I would have I was going to drop him. I would have liked to drop him at one stage, but. How can you drop a guy like that? I suppose that can produce stuff on his day. You know, he's can be amazing. We all know that. So
he's talking of Tony, he's caused us so many issues as well. I mean, I remember going back to last season at the Emirates when you lot came. Our defenders were struggling against him because all he's doing is his hold up play is top notch. Yeah, you know, he's a beast up front really, and he's getting the ball linking up with Mbeumo, and that's a massive mystery as well, isn't it? Of course, Mbeumo out injured. You know, you know, the link up play that he had with him throughout the whole, even when I watched when you played Man City, he did a double over them. Those two the whole time. Insane link up play, you know. But I was going to ask you about that. You know, Tony coming back, he's been out for a few months. Sorry, he's been out for ages. I know he scored about 4 goals, but you don't think he's been playing good in terms of his form wise?
I think he's been a bit rusty there, man. Because. You know, at times he's looked like that sharpness like he used to have. You know, he used to be, you know, and when he's playing well, he's big there. He's up, he's holding it up, and he's passing around the corner, and you know, linking well with other players. And at times that's been missing. You know, and he looks like he may be rusty, or he may just need a little break. Because we've been out all that long time. What was it, 9 months or so? You know, you're gonna be rusty. You know, because you ain't played. So you played like behind closed doors friendlies or whatever. You know, warm up matches. That's nothing at the end of the day. You get into these big Premier matches, and they're tough. They're hard. We all know they are, and it's proving like that for him, I think. And now he just needs a little break. You got Mopay scoring, and you got Visser who's actually scoring as well now. So, you know, why not go with them for a change? You can always bring Tony off the bench if he's needed. You know, so
yeah, for sure. Before I move into money, I want to say big up my man Tony Claw for the super chat, man. Guys, you're not already. Make sure you go and drop this man a sub. We're doing a brand. We're going to do a brand new show together every single week. Absolute legend, man. Thank you very much for the super chat. Big up everyone inside in the chat. We've got Rory, Jordan, Saliba, Arsenal Clips, Coach's Corner. Big up to you, bro. Proddy, Optics. Big up everyone inside today, man. Honestly, thank you guys very much. And if you haven't already, make sure you go and drop a sub to Mr. B. Link is right up there in the title. But yeah, I want to come to you, Manny. I mean, how should we be, you know, approaching this game? You know, how should Concept be approaching this game against Brentford in terms of like his team selection as well? You know what they say. You know, if it's not broken, you know, you don't have to fix it. If it's not, you shouldn't really change a winning team. You know, based on the current form as well, you got players like Kivior. Been an absolute, you know, some great form at left back. Zinchenko's going to, for me, struggling. It's going to be struggle to get back into this left back position the way how Kivior's been playing there. You know, you've got the likes of Havertz, you know, performing pretty decent. You know, many players. I mean, even Jorginho in the midfield has been having some great games for us. So, how do you think we'll set up for this game, man?
Well, you pretty much said it. If it isn't broken, don't try and fix it. And that would mean that, you know, we pretty much stick with the team that played against Sheffield United. And that means having Jorginho in the middle and Havertz as the false nine with Rice and Odegaard alongside Georgie Porgy in the midfield, and then Saka and Martinelli. And then Trossard maybe coming off the bench. I was actually having a debate with a fellow Arsenal fan. Shout out to Danny Fishman of Danny AFC TV. And, you know, he and I actually do, we also do some watch alongs for the European games. And we will be teaming up on Tuesday, of course, as we try and sneak through past Porto. And he was sort of talking on his stream last night. And he streams at the most ungodly hour, 10 p.m. UK time. Go figure. And he was talking about how, you know, given how well Havertz has been playing and how he's managed to find the net recently, if he's given a lot more support and a lot more encouragement, he could go on to be a 1-goal-in-2 striker, very much the same way that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was for us. Now, not only is that an insult to Aubameyang, who is still showing that he's more than capable of kicking it. I watched the Marseille Villarreal game to relax after. Yeah, I watched that Marseille Villarreal game to sort of relax after a double watch along with the coach's corner. Shout out to Hanno, of course. And that second goal, which he chipped past Pepe Reina, oh boy, skill, confidence, class personified. So there should be no comparisons to Aubameyang. I will accept that maybe he just doesn't have that that slight burst of pace, which will make him continually effective in the Premiership. But he's found his niche back in France. In Europe, he's still really good quality. And he was a great striker for us, and that is how we should remember him. And if it weren't for him and a certain Mr. Maupay, I must say, we wouldn't have won that FA Cup.
Yeah, for real.
Going back to Havertz, we cannot allow ourselves to have short memories and forget how he was used as a false nine, but couldn't hit a horse's backside with a banjo. And there are many of us who were saying the idea that we could waste 70 million quid on him and just shoehorn him into the team and expect him to play whatever role he's asked to play, it's ridiculous. I mean, playing him on the left side of the midfield, it pretty much signals the end of Emile Smith-Rowe's career because he comes on as a sub. He does a great deal for us. I know people might say he looks a little bit portly and has packed on a few pounds, but he undoubtedly has some talent. And if he were to go to Unai Emery at Aston Villa, I'm sure his career would be rejuvenated, no doubt about it. But Havertz is really just now getting into the groove after a long period where we were doubting whether he was good enough. And again, we have to remember, Josh, that the teams against we've been playing have not exactly cut the mustard. So how he is going to do, of course, as a false nine against Brentford will remain to be seen. Will he be able to find his way behind the defence, the three-man central defence, and maybe two wing-backs that Steve says that Frank might use? And Georgie has obviously been able to find some excellent passes which can unlock defences, a little bit like how Christian Eriksen used to do. But again, my biggest concern is that the bloke doesn't have the legs that he had when he was at Chelsea, and I still believe that his best football was with that part of West London. So he will definitely continue to start, and I think he will play against Brentford, but it will be interesting to see how the Brentford midfield, can combat him and try and nullify him and his influence, and also what they can do against Declan Rice, who probably will be a more evolved midfielder from the two games that we've had against Brentford so far this season. And again, Martinelli and Saka will start, if only because there are no real replacements for them. I know Trossard can come on for Martinelli, but when it comes to Saka, we've only got 24-carat so-called magic, Reece Nelson, and he hasn't been playing very much since that winning goal against Bournemouth. It must be said. So
Eddie, you
it
got
will.
Eddie on the bench.
Forget about him. He didn't even cut. He didn't even make an appearance off the bench against Sheffield United, the team against
No.
whom he scored a hat trick. So I think if there's one good thing, it might be we might be seeing the end of Eddie Nketiah's career at the Arsenal. Good luck to him. I hope he finds a team that could that will be willing to have him. Maybe Luton Town could get him. I don't know. But
Tell you what, if he plays, Manny, right, we could sit there and have a cigar on if he's playing. We'd be all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Your defense
no
would not
issues,
be in
man.
your defense would not be in trouble with Nketiah in the room, believe you me. So in a nutshell, Josh, I think it will be the same starting 11 other than Ramsdale. And let's not, wax lyrical about Kivior just yet, because we again cannot allow ourselves to forget how out of place he has looked in the team. And he is, of course,
good.
essential.
Looks good, Kirill.
He looks okay now, but look, he's still very much a square peg in a round hole, a central defender who's playing at left back due to a huge injury crisis. We don't have Yurian Timber, we don't have Alexander Zinchenko, we don't have Takahiro Tomiyasu yet, and Eddie Nothretia, RD12, top one. I love that. And Yes, we're gonna have the same starting lineup. I just hope that when Tomiyasu and Timber do come back later on this season, there will be a bit more competition, because I think we can agree that with both of those guys being more established fullbacks, they could lend a lot more to the team going forward. The sad part is that both Tomiyasu and Timber, being right-footed, will probably end up inverting, while Kivior is something like a more traditional left back. Why we saw it fit to get rid of Kieran Tierney, I don't know, but I'm glad he's at least had season where he's impressed in Spain, even though he has still, shown the glass legs that have affected his time with us. And maybe he'll stay in Spain. Maybe he'll come back to England. Unai Emery could very well end up turning Aston Villa into Arsenal Villa from the looks of it. So
we'd always take him. We'd have him at the bees, mate. We'd have him there. Definitely.
I mean, but then don't you? Oh yeah, you said Rico Henry is injured. You do, yeah. You could. So, like I said, the same start. Yeah. So, like I said, the same starting lineup, with the only exception being Aaron Ramsdale in goal, and he probably should now treat this game as an opportunity to remind the fans what they're going to miss when he leaves. And I hope I've never been his biggest fan, Josh. I don't think he has. He's technically perfect. He makes a lot of basic elementary mistakes. He's never really seemed to show the urge to try and work on those mistakes and become a better all-round goalkeeper. But when he does find a new club, I hope that he will start to take it a lot more seriously and evolve. And who knows, leaving Arsenal could prove to be a blessing for him. Certainly was proved to be a blessing for Aston Villa's goalkeeper, eh?
Yeah, no, for real. And this might actually be his last game for Arsenal, Ramsdale, because I don't see where else he's gonna obviously feature this season. So yeah, I mean, Mr. B, as a Brentford fan, what's your thoughts on Wright? Because he's gonna be leaving you permanently at the end of the season. I mean, are you disappointed that you're letting him go?
Oh, to be honest, I thought he'd already gone. I thought you had tied that up and actually brought him, but obviously not. You hadn't brought him permanently yet. But yeah, it will be a big loss for us, because I think he'd been amazing for us. But I think he only made maybe 3 mistakes when he was with us. That's about it that I can recall. He was an incredible keeper for us, and is that opposite of Flecken, to be honest. I mean, Flecken is, poor substitute, really. But no, I think he's great. And also, can I give another big shout out? Actually, I'll give a big shout out to Keane Lewis-Barr, who's been amazing. He's actually starting to show his potential with us. I forgot to mention him before. And I think he's been absolutely brilliant. He's really starting to come on. I think he's been dropped last 2 or 3 games, but I think he's been amazing. He shone against West Ham when we were poor, absolutely poor against West Ham, losing 4-2. But he was amazing in that game, and he's actually starting to prove, what he got him from Hull. All the potential he had there. So maybe if he plays against you lot, he could produce something as well. So, I'd be wary of him if I were you. Very good player. So,
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Look, Mr. B, I mean, going into this game, bro. I'm gonna ask you. I mean, how do you see this game going? Coming to the Emirates. We're flying at the moment. It's a massive game for us. It's a massive game for you lot because, as I said, you need at least. I mean, I'm sure you'll take a point. Considering where you are. You're about 6 points off of relegation, so it's a massive game for you, massive game for us, because it's safe to say one little slip up from Arsenal, where the league is so neck and neck right now. It could just be done like that, really. It's massive if we do win this game and results go our way. When obviously Liverpool and City play, if they get a draw, then we go top of the league. It's as simple as that, really. So, how do you see this game going as a Brentford fan, man?
Well, to be honest, Josh, I'd love a draw, as you just said. I'd love a point.
Yeah.
Whether that'll happen, I'm not totally sure, because you're just slapping up teams for fun at the moment, and I actually think we will be a tougher challenge for you lot, because I think you've had it pretty easy. I mean, some teams just haven't really turned up and look really poor against you. I mean, I know you play great stuff, great football, no doubt about it. But, some teams just haven't really, I think they just let you play sometimes. And, let you have the space, let you do what you want on the ball. I think we'll get at you a bit more. I think we'll try and stop you playing. And, it will be a lot tougher. I still think you're really dangerous. I think at one stage I thought, oh, well, Arsenal got no chance. They're out of it, man. They're gone. But since you come back from that Dubai and all that, I mean, everyone's saying, well, what did you deserve to go there for? It's like a blooming holiday, It's a holiday for you lot and something. And, that ain't going to be no good. But since you come back from there, that's worked, isn't it? You've been at it,
sure.
You've been smacking teams around for fun. And, I am worried about tomorrow. I am very worried. But, I wish we could. I think if we can just be at it and really stop you not playing, we might come away with something. If we can just come away with a point, we'd be happy. But to be honest, we are looking past you, and we've got Burnley next. So if we can't beat them, I know it's at their ground. But if we can't beat them, we just will give up. And then we got United at home. But, we can all say, oh, United are poor and shit at the moment. But, they might still turn up. They still got great players. They're still a top team, despite them not doing anything at the moment. So who knows? But, I mean, we are looking past you. But we don't disrespect Arsenal at all, because we know what you can do, and we're going to try and stop you doing it, man. At the end of the day.
The end of the day, right? This is also, a London derby as well. It's one of those games where I feel like if you will be, I feel like, as you said, you'll try and be physical with us. You'll try and rock us up, and even when we played against you at the start of this season, when you beat you 1-0, that was a very tough game for Arsenal. Very tough game. As I said, you roughed us up. It was very, very hard to break you down. And it took for Havertz to come and have a super sub and just win us the game 1-0.
Man.
Yeah.
I
mean, how good? I was going to ask this because set pieces we've been superb with them. We scored the highest amount of set pieces in the Premier League and also in top 5 European out of any other club. So we've scored the most set pieces effectively in Europe. Yeah. How good are you at Brentford at really like dealing with that in terms of set pieces from other teams?
We used to be good, bro, but I don't know. We slipped backwards now with that. We've been a little bit soft. I think got a little bit of a soft centre now, because I mean, our centre backs have gone. They're not playing. I mean, Pinnock obviously hurt, injured, unfit, and we won't get him back for a little while. Ben Mee's out for the rest of the season. We really are struggling at the back now. We really are, and we got Collins now, and we got Aya and whatever, Zanka. But, I think when we had them playing at their best, me and Pinnock, we were really tough, like a wall at the back, so hard to break down. But at the moment, we are a bit soft there, and I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. What is wrong? But hopefully we will defend better tomorrow. I hope we've got to. Otherwise, you lot are going to trounce us. So we've got to do something. So not easy, but we'll give it our best. We always do our best against the big teams. We always try our best against the big lot, and you are big, so
Yeah, respect. No, respect. Look, I want to come to Manny. Look, how do you see this game going, man? Of course, for me, as I said, I think we can both agree this is a massive game for us in terms of this title race. And as I said, this is my view. If say we, don't win this game, considering how consistent the other two sides we're competing with are, could that be that? Could the title be over if we don't pick up, a good result here, man?
Probably not, son, because obviously, a lot of attention will be on the Liverpool City game, and I think a lot of people are talking about the prospect of how it could be a draw, which would suit us perfectly, because that means that if we beat Brentford, we end up going top of the league, and then we could, at least in theory, carry that momentum. But just as the title would not be decided in our favour if those results go our way, the title race will not necessarily be over if we do not get the result we need against Brentford, because we still have quite a few games to play. We won't be playing Liverpool again this season, which, for what it's worth, is, I'd say, a blessing now, because, you saw the way they played last night in the Europa League. Sparta got spanked, and at least Slavia Prague didn't get slayed against AC Milan. In fact, they brought a bit of pride back to their city, and they did what Sparta couldn't. And it is a blessing that we're not playing Liverpool again. But I think if we don't win the title, we are going to look back at some of the games we played in the middle of the season and say, you know what, our arrogance and complacency for those games cost us dearly. And I had to deal with quite a few morons. I don't use that term lightly. Some of these Arsenal fans are morons, and they know who I'm talking about. Have had the nerve to say we've been playing so well in those games and we haven't gotten the results we deserve. No, those are the results that the attitudes of fans like you deserve. And at the end of the day, the only stat that matters, to hell with XG, to hell with field tilt, to hell with possession, the only stat that matters is the number of goals that you score at the end of the day, and that's pretty much that. So, yes, we need to get a result against Brentford tomorrow, and we can't necessarily hope for the Liverpool City game to have the result we want, because I'll tell you what, the way both teams are very serious about going for the title, I actually predict that there will be a winner. And given that Liverpool might be having a few injury worries, and City are always going to be a defensively inconsistent team which can be got at, especially with that Portuguese thief Ruben Diaz in the back. And I say thief because he's literally stealing a living there under Pep Guardiola. There could very well be the potential for a result, and especially with Mohamed Salah back and firing, you can never ever be too careful. So we have to assume, Josh, that there will be a result in the Liverpool City game. There will be a win, and if that's the case, then our performance against Brentford will probably not really matter very much. We've got to go to the Emirates and win regardless. And as Steve has rightly said, they do the Bees do their best against the bigger teams. They were, of course, the only team to do the double against City last season. Beating the treble winners twice is definitely not small potatoes, home and away. So well done there. And I'm not being patronising. You lot, but clearly, Bud, you lot deserve those wins. So we've got to go out there and win. It's as simple as that. I am confident enough to predict a 3-1 win, given how we should be expected to line up. But if we start to slack, and if Havertz has a poor game, if some of the other players do not really stand up to make themselves counted, then we could be in for a really, 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 really difficult time. And a draw will not end our title chances, but it could hurt, just like the Everton defeat hurt, just like the Southampton draw hurt. And the Southampton draw, when Theo Walcott came back to the Emirates and broke our hearts.
Yeah.
It's always funny how it's the ex-Gooners that come back and, really hit us where it hurts, yeah?
Yeah, for real. No, that's absolute facts, man. Absolutely spot on. But Mr. B, I wanted to ask you about your manager, Thomas Frank, because as I said, I actually rate him, considering the job he's done, kept you up, 3 seasons in a row now. I think you will start this season, to be fair, and the job he did last season almost got you European football. What's been your thoughts on him this season? Do you still see, because I got a feeling he'll maybe not get sacked, but this might be coming towards his end of Brentford tenure, and he might move on to elsewhere and have a new challenge. But what do you think, man, about Frank as a manager?
Well, as I already said, Josh, I was a little bit outspoken saying that he should go maybe because of the way we were struggling and he wasn't being proactive enough, like changing things up, like he used to do. He used to, you see him out there with the board and all that, and then he's getting players, talking to players, getting players going. And at times he looks like he's not bothered. I don't know why. I don't know why that's the case. But, he's gotten like this 3-5-2. Yeah, you can change it up. You can play 5 at the back. You can play 4 at the back. But I still think he's not really doing it properly enough. Whether he's got comfortable, maybe he wants to go somewhere else. Maybe he wants to start winning something somewhere. Because that's always the case. Managers do want to start winning trophies and stuff, don't they? So, maybe he wants to go elsewhere. There's talk about Man United that he's on the list there. Managerial list. So, but you obviously got to get rid of Ten Hag first, but we don't know if that's happening. But if he does go there, good luck to him. But he could go to even Liverpool, link with them. So, but at the end of the day, I don't mind if he stays, but as long as he can get better than he has been this season.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's happened this season with him, but I have noticed it's different. And, a lot of us speak, they think, oh, we're a nice club. We don't care what happens to us. We don't give a shit. But we do, It is important to us. I know we're never going to win major trophies or anything. That's never going to happen. But, we want to get better. We want to stay in this Premier because we deserve to be here, We're a small fish in a big pond. Yeah, maybe so. But we deserve to be here. We've proved that over 2 seasons at least, we can mix it with the big boys, and but I think he is a great manager. Still, I agree with you 100%. But he just hasn't quite proved it this season. I don't know what's going on, but you never know. He might change it around, and he might stay again, and he might stay for next season. And if we add to our team, which we are trying to do, we're trying to get Jonathan David for a start. We're trying to get him in. That'd be a hell of a signing. Scored for Lille again. I think was it 2 last night for Lille.
Yeah, I think they won 3-0, didn't they? So there we go.
Yeah, man. So if we can get a striker like him in, we mean business. We're going to mean business then. So we've already got one. We've got what's that guy's name? I've forgotten it at the moment. But he's sort of a replacement for Tony. He's from Bruges. I can't remember his name now.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah.
I think it's Thiago. Is it Thiago? Is that Thiago? But
yeah,
so he's obviously come in now, and Igor Thiago. Sorry, that's it. See, I never really knew about him before until he's just come in, man. And I thought, who's this guy we signed? But yeah, he could be good, and if we can get Jonathan David as well, that'd be a strike force, man.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Manny, as a sort of like an opposition fan, what do you make of Thomas Frank as a manager?
Well, to be frank about Thomas, pun intended, he's a typical mid-level club manager where he is quite tactically smart and can definitely he's definitely capable of some pretty good performances. And I can never forget that in their first game in the Premiership, they beat us at the G-Tech, and we always knew that they were going to be a pretty tough, a tough team to sort of break down. I just think that when it comes to clubs like Brentford, they tend to be a little bit complacent when it comes to games that they are, expected to win, if you like, and that's probably one of the reasons why they don't quite earn as many points as they should. And there is clearly a lot of potential for him to improve and become an even better manager, but it will remain to be seen whether he can find a better club. What he has done with Brentford, ensuring that they continue to punch above their weight and do as well as they can, has been quite outstanding. And yet the thing about these managers, I mean, we've seen it with Eddie Howe at Bournemouth. You can do it for a few seasons, but eventually you end up, I wouldn't say getting found out, but the relative lack of strength of that team is pretty much exposed in a way, and that's pretty much what's happened with Brentford this season. Being without Tony, being without Mbuemo and a few other players, and now Steve has mentioned that Ben Mee, of course, no relation to Bertie Mee, the Arsenal legend, of course. But I think, as Eminem would say, the defense would feel so empty without me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here we go.
And so obviously, without those players, Brentford would struggle. And it just goes to show that teams like them tend to be first 11 teams. But then in many ways, we're a first 11 team too. Our bench strength isn't exactly top notch. Even Aston Villa don't exactly have a complete bench strength, especially when it comes to their defenders, although they do have some decent competition for, the strikers and the midfielders, if you like. But they really need to improve their squad if they want to be a real force in Europe next season. And they will. I'm tipping them to make sure that they secure at least fourth and qualify for the Champions League, which would be a feather in Unai Emery's cap. I just think that next season, if Brentford decide to, stick with Frank, and I do hope they do, and I definitely don't see them getting relegated because there are quite frankly at least 3 or 4 teams that are worse than them this season who have a bigger chance of getting relegated than Brentford will. If you lot sign Jonathan David, Steve, then mate, that would be an absolute coup for your lot. Canadian star, World Cupper, that would be absolutely amazing. And he's a type of player, I'm not going to lie, that we should be looking to try and sign. And if you sign him, well, oh my days, that would be amazing. But I mean, why would I be surprised? You lot got Christian Eriksen. Granted, he wasn't exactly at his best. Yeah, he did, though. He did. He was a brilliant signing for you lot. He was a brilliant signing. And he really did play well. When he joined, I said he wasn't quite at his best, but I think you lot helped him revive his career in many ways and help him get back to the level that he was at. And, I'm sure when he looks back on his career, he will owe you lot a huge debt. I think Thomas Frank will stay.
He's off to Man United for a load of money, yeah.
Yeah, but then you got your
Christian.
But then you got your revenge by pasting his new team 4-0 at the G-Tech season.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I think Frank should stay, and I think obviously there will be a review over everything that has happened, and it is fair to say that there are maybe 1 or 2 players in that Brentford squad who might perhaps need to be moved on. And even in as much as there are several players who are doing really well, everyone will be subject to review. And obviously those players who have a lot more in terms of promise will be invited to stay. And that would be a good thing. And next season, I think Brentford will be able to recover. So I like Thomas Frank. I think he's done some really good things at Brentford, and I would like to see him stay. But again, it's not my decision to make, not even Steve's.
No, for sure. Yeah, and I, agree. I think, he's a very, very good manager indeed. I think he's done an excellent job at Brentford, and I think he will continue at Brentford as well.
Who will we get if he goes? That's the problem.
That's the question as well, man. That's the question as well. But
who's going to be as good as him, man? Who can we get? We can't get these top managers like some of these teams like Arsenal get, and so say that about Arteta, I don't know. But some of these top managers like the Klopps and all that, we can't get managers like that,
No, of course.
You end up with Steve Cooper or something,
Yeah. Listen, man. Look, guys, score predictions. We'll start with you, Steve, as a Brentford fan. Score prediction.
Oh, Josh, I don't know, man. I'd like to say we're going to get a draw and get something out of this. I'd love a 1-1, but I still think it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be probably like 2-1. You lot, I say 2-1.
Yeah. That's fair, man. That's fair there. Manny, you still going with your 3-1 prediction to Arsenal?
I am, son. No change.
So yeah, there we go, guys. Thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Just quickly shout everyone, obviously, Mr. B, where they can find you and the content you got coming up, man.
Yeah, man, I got quite a bit coming up. I got obviously my cricket channel as well. By the way, it's Mr. B for Life 182 at Mr. B Hiver Football Chat, and also I got my England cricket one, and I've done a review for that, a reaction today. And of course, we were poor again. I know not many of you love cricket in here, but but England was shit, and so I just had to go off on one again today on there on my reaction stream. But anyway, yeah, so I've got loads of other things coming up. Obviously, be a review for this game, no matter what happens. If we get trounced or whatever, I'll still do a reaction because I always put my face in up there. I won't shy away. I won't hide.
Yeah.
No matter what. So, and equally, if we get a win, I'd love a win. That'd be a bonus. To beat you lot, that'd be incredible. But I'll do a review, either way, and obviously plenty of other content coming up. So, thanks for having me on again, Josh.
Yeah,
That's
no
brilliant,
worries,
man. And cheers, Manny. Thanks for being in here, bro, as well. It's been a great chat, great discussion, and cheers, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, no, as all, Mr. B, man, and you're always welcome to come on the channel. Big respect to you as always, man. Oh, cheers, man. Yeah, appreciate that a lot. So, Manny, where they can find you as well, bro.
Yeah, well, first of all, big up to you, Josh, and obviously, I will hope to possibly come back again fairly soon, whenever I possibly can. Obviously, scheduling dictates that I may be a little bit of a busy bloke, but it is what it is. I don't have a YouTube channel of my own, but you can find me on many places on YouTube. Yep, of course. I was never going to end this stream without bigging you up, Steve. You know that. I've been on both. I've been on both. I've been on both Mr. B's channels, the Hiver Football Chat and also the England Cricket channel. And obviously, I've enjoyed being on the England Cricket channel recently because we really go back and forth talking about cricket. Both Steve and I really enjoy watching and talking about it, and we have some really good conversations, no doubt about recently,
but still, England, I mean, a bit, not great, but
yeah, exactly. And if you want to find me elsewhere on YouTube, you can catch me on Del Boy Gunner TV. He will be doing a call-in show after the Brentford game, so it goes without saying, Steve, that you are more than welcome. And I'm going to make sure that you get the link so that you can come on and have your say, no matter what.
Yeah.
And you can also catch me on Coaches.
You can have a white card, me, can't you? Yeah, on there. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
You know me. I am a gracious, magnanimous winner. You will never see me indulging in any banter or snide or any of that nonsense. So you can catch me on Del Boy Gunner TV. He's back after a bit of a hiatus. I've often hosted the call-in shows for him whenever he couldn't do it. So, but thankfully he is back, and you can see his much more attractive face and that wonderful Irish accent. Catch me as well on the Coach's Corner, where I'm a co-host. We do a lot of football and cricket-related content there too. In fact, this week I've done 4 football watch-alongs: the Sheffield United-Arsenal game, the Bayern Munich-Lazio game, the Real Madrid-Leipzig game, and yesterday Hanno and I did a double watch-along for Sparta Prague-Liverpool and Ajax-Aston Villa with updates from Roma, Brighton, and other fixtures as well. And today, of course, big up to Oris Talks Football. He's got his stream tonight at 8 p.m. UK time. You will see me there. And I'm also a co-host there, by the way. Shout out as well to Tony Claude Gunner TV. I used to go on his channel fairly frequently. Now haven't really had the time, but I will hope to go back there soon. Danny AFC TV,
Right,
as I
top
mentioned.
right,
You can see us together doing the watch along for the Arsenal Porto game on Tuesday.
Tiny
And
brother. Right.
yep, also up the cherries in all departments with Craig Beasley. Bournemouth Fan Channel, of course, we do the cherry picking shows on Thursdays at 9 p.m. UK time. Actually, we record at 9 p.m. UK, but they're released the following morning, following Friday. That is the next day. And also Rich Sports, I'll be going on his channel on Monday. I've already had 2 streams with him. Wonderful bloke. And Eugene Spurgeon Asia TV, a Malaysia-based Tottenham fan. So we sort of have an Asian connection going on, and we're also very respectful towards one another, despite the fact that we support that our teams basically are eternal rivals, and also Northside LDN and Old School Gunner, and quite a few others that I can't really name at the moment because my brain's a bit fried. But I actually need to eat myself before getting on our stream. But one of the things I always say, and Mr. B knows this, is that when it comes to talking about sports on YouTube, I always want to be respectful and forthright, but it's always about respecting other people's opinions and letting them have their say, not criticizing, saying that your people's opinions are stupid and ill-informed. No, far from it. And I don't tolerate people being disrespectful to me, and I definitely have no intention of being disrespectful to others. And if we cannot agree to disagree without being disagreeable, there's no point in having a discussion. So cut the banter. Let's treat each other the way that we would like to be treated. Social media. I'm off social media until the end of Lent. I'll be back on Easter Sunday, and you can catch me. Just type in my name and you'll catch me there. Manny Thangaro 1981 on Instagram and Threads. Thangaro 1981 on Twitter, because there was only space for 15 characters. But yeah. So once again, thank you very much indeed, Josh, for having us on. It was a pleasure, son. And all I can say to you and everyone watching is enjoy your Friday night. Just curl up, watch a movie, Netflix, and chill. Don't do anything that. Always be safe and be happy, and don't do anything that's just Steve, Josh, and I wouldn't do. But as always, to everyone, thanks a lot for joining in, and farewell to thee. Goodbye and God bless to all of you. And we're about to be out.
Manny, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. I hope to get you on the channel more often as well. And yeah, big up to you, man. Absolute facts. And yeah, thank you very much for taking your time to come out on the channel. And obviously, same with you as well, Steve. Really appreciate you hopping on today as well. But yeah, guys, we're getting out of it. As for my content coming up, we got Premier League predictions later. That'll be pre-recorded coming out later this evening. And then obviously tomorrow will be a watch along and match review, player ratings, and a calling show as well. And yeah, daily content, guys. If you're new watching this, make sure you do subscribe. We're on the road to 7K. And until tomorrow, guys, we're out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, people. Come on, you Gunners. God bless everyone, and ciao.